scale of the sentencing is a matter for the court. The police role in such an investigation is to accurately gather all the evidence, to understand the facts, to speak to all the witnesses, and to analyse that information so that it can be accurately presented before the court, as has happened. I hope that the next stage of this case progressing can allow the people that are closest to Mikaeel to be reassured about the level of response that all the agencies and individuals who were involved in this have put towards it so far.
It was an extraordinary case, really, with the way it progressed, and obviously with the community involvement. I don't think a lot of people have ever seen anything like the community response that happened to. Obviously, there was a terrible outcome for those. But what's your message to that community?
I'd like to thank the community for the level of support that they showed and that they continue to show the police in Edinburgh and more widely than Edinburgh. Police Scotland always take any report of a missing child extremely seriously, and quite understandably it became clear that the local community were very concerned about that report as well. We're very happy that they wanted to come out in such large numbers, that there were so many people who were looking for some direction as to how they could best help, and we were able to use that enthusiasm to try and resolve these horrendous circumstances in the best way that we could, and I believe that we did that.
Do you think the investigation has helped improve Police Scotland's relations with the communities in North Edinburgh?
I think it has. I think one of the key outcomes from this was that we were able to demonstrate our desire to work with such large numbers of people turning up for what is in any event a no-notice incident. We weren't able to do any planning with the communities of North Edinburgh or more widely. What we were able to do was put in place tried and tested plans that the police have for dealing with major incidents of this nature. We were able to bring in a huge level of specialist resources from across Scotland very quickly, in a way that Police Scotland has allowed, from Specialist Operations Division, where we were able to bring in air support, large numbers of trained searchers, search advisors. We were able to bring in dogs and dog owners from across Scotland very quickly, in a way that I hope that the people of Scotland would expect wherever something like this happened now in Scotland. And for the first time in Scotland we launched the Child Rescue Alert, which is a series of mechanisms which allows us to work with the media to get information out quickly, and then for us to ensure that when we get responses to that, because of the level of responses, that we're able to assess that information accurately and then prioritise what action we will take as a result of what we are told. Child Rescue Alert was deployed, it was successful. It allowed us to deal with the level of public and media interest in the case, as well as putting all the infrastructure in the background to ensure a rigorous investigation, and ultimately, as you said, a tragic outcome, but one which I think we moved to understanding very quickly.
We've already spoken about the sentence, and I'm just wondering how you view the charge that was actually levelled against Mikaeel Kular. Are you happy with?
I think, as I've said before, the role of the police is to gather all of the information and evidence, to assess and analyse that and present it to the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service. It's a very serious charge that has been dealt with here. Any homicide of a child, that is a very frequent event in Scotland, but we have specialist officers who deal with any homicide of a child, and communities should be reassured that where we believe that's what's happened, then we're going to put in place a very rigorous investigation and gather all the possible evidence to allow the Crown Office and the court to make an assessment and a judgment on what that means in law.
In that regard, is it a satisfactory outcome, given obviously all the work that's gone into this thing?
I think the outcome in the case is tragic because there's been a loss of life of a child. The homicide of any child is both unnecessary and is a preventable preventable act. We did a lot of work through all of the child protection procedures that we have in place with other agencies across the whole of the country to ensure that such instances are minimised. I don't think it's possible to say there is a satisfactory outcome or otherwise, because the loss of a child's life is never going to be satisfactory. But it's going to be a homicide, as has happened in this case, that's always preventable, and it's very sad for everybody involved.
People in the community obviously were a bit concerned and upset about your decision to go in with the murder charge. So do you understand that kind of reaction? Because they were obviously involved in the search, given the time, and then discovered that the mother knew all the time.
Yeah, I'm acutely aware of the sensitivities around about the case, and indeed in my role, the sensitivities around about any case involving the homicide of a child and the death of a child. But it is an extremely complicated set of circumstances. Ultimately, the decisions about prosecutions and sentencing are matters, quite rightly, for the Crown Office Fiscal Service and for the court and the judge.
What would you say to people that are really quite angry at the outcome today? I know the sentencing's nothing to do with Police Scotland, but what would you say to them who are exceptionally angry at the outcome? This woman's only got 11 years for killing her child. Recognise and thank the people, particularly of North Edinburgh, for the commitment that they gave to support the police in every effort that we were making initially to establish a detail, and then as time went on to establish a the details of which have now been laid out in the court. Okay. And how quickly were officers searched on Vegan Avenue after the initial missing child was reported? Obviously, you had relatives there. Were officers there quite quickly after the initial report? The response initially was very quick and very quickly escalated, as everybody was aware. This was a search operation and an investigation that played out entirely in the public eye, and that's quite right. The police operate on behalf of the public, and we operate in public sight, and that's what happened here. So everybody's aware of the timescales that the police responded to the initial report, the level of the search activity and how that escalated, not just through what we told people directly and through the media, but also through what was self-evident by what people could see. All right.